Hi, my name is Brian Kalinec. I'm a singer-songwriter, and my music is inspired by real life and real people.
Welcome back to the Consciously Curious Goes Global radio show. This is Peggy Sue Skipper, and I am delighted to have with me now Brian Kalinec.
It's a real joy to be here, Peggy Sue. Thank you for having me.
Lovely to have you.
It's great to be here.
And so I love your music.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. And you just got back from New York, right?
I did.
What were you doing up there?
Well, I was there for the Northeast Regional Folk Alliance Conference, and that was the first time I'd been up to that one. And I also had 3 shows up there, one in the Village, one on Long Island, and then one in Goshen.
How were things up there? You know, they just had that Hurricane Sandy up there. Were things pretty much back to normal? Well,
they're getting back to normal. They're getting back to normal for those that they can get back to normal for. The problem was that, you know, a lot of the people on the coast just really lost a lot, and they're trying to pick up the pieces. I didn't see a lot of destruction, but I didn't go down by the coast because they had a lot of problems with gawkers going down there,
right.
and I
don't want to participate in that.
Don't want to participate in that, and being from here, we truly understand the
yes, we do
that aspect
yes.
of it. So
I had my son 3 weeks after Alicia hit in 1983, and we had no air conditioning.
Right.
So nothing like walking around in August like an incubator and no AC. So believe me, my heart goes out to all those people up there.
And mine as well.
But let's talk about your music, because how wonderful that you were able to go up there and share your music with people and actually, spread a little joy.
Well, that was certainly a high point, just being able to help lift spirits if possible.
Absolutely. Now, we talked briefly when we met, and I actually heard you at an open mic night, and really enjoyed your music, and that's why you're sitting here today.
Well, thank you.
But you told me a little bit about your journey with music, and I want to talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Because it's a long one, right?
Well, it is a long one, and just periods of when I played out, and periods when I didn't, and periods when I got back into it.
Mm-hmm. Like, does it just pull you back?
Well, it does. I was playing professionally when I got out of college, and before then actually, and we found out we were going to have a child, and I had to make a decision, and I made a decision to get a day job and do that and follow that other career, and then my daughter had a very, very normal upbringing. There's nothing wrong with being a musician, but at the same time, I had you just have to make decisions like that, and everybody's decisions are different.
So, but a lot of people have to make those decisions, and
right.
Some people make one, and some people make another.
Yes.
But it is my belief that if we really understand our journey, if we're conscious enough to look at our own evolution, that we find that those detours that we've taken really brought something to our gift in the long run.
Oh, I totally agree. My music would probably be totally different if I hadn't if that hadn't happened, and I think that I probably needed some maturing in certain ways that hopefully I bring to my music now, that as a result of that change in my journey.
Yeah, that detour. And also maybe some business savvy that
yes.
you might not have had if you hadn't made that detour.
That's exactly right. It gives me a different perspective on the business and what's realistic and what to shoot for. And for me, all of this is, I look at all of this as being gravy. It's just how I look at it. I'm very blessed.
Well, and I love to hear that. It's like you have created your ideal life.
Well, I suppose I have. A lot of people ask me, well, when are you going to retire from the other thing that you do? And I said, well, I may never. I mean, I like doing both.
Right.
And so I'm doing both.
Well, good. And you do write your music. I
do.
Yeah. So how long did that happen on an ongoing basis, or did you quit writing for a while? Or?
No, I probably wrote my first song when I was 10 or 11. I'm not going to play that for you today, but
oh, come on.
No. But one of the things I did notice that during my break, I did write, and I continued to write some songs, but I didn't write a lot but I did write some. But once I got back into it, I really wanted to become a songwriter and be the best that I could be, and that took going to a lot of seminars, things that I had not done before. My writing was okay, but it was, I didn't consider it anything special, and I'm not sure anybody else really did either. But I just wanted to learn how to learn the craft, and I spent actually, even before I started playing on a regular basis, which was in '98. In the early '90s, I got involved with what was then the Fort Bend Songwriters Association, and is now the Houston Songwriters Association. I got involved very heavily with that. I was president for a couple of years, and got to meet a lot of top-notch songwriters who we'd bring in for seminars and festivals and that sort of thing. And it really inspired me to work a lot harder at my craft. And that's what I do. I have to believe, from my standpoint, that my best writing, hopefully, is in front of me. It's something that I haven't done yet.
Yes, isn't even an inspiration yet.
Right.
Well, that's the creative process, and I think that's the real key to life itself. We've got to be in a creative process, whatever that is for us as individuals. For you, that is music, and maybe some other things as well. But since we're talking about your music today, we'll talk about that. But the songwriting and the creation of that music and the engagement of the audience when you play is your creation process. At least one of them.
Yes, that's true, and it's not. I don't think you consciously write for the audience, but you want to make that connection with what you do. So you want to give it your very best and make sure that whatever you're writing or whatever you're telling people about what you do is authentic and is the very best. The bar is really high, because when you go out there, you see a lot of young writers who are doing just phenomenal work, and not just young, but just a tremendous number of people out there who do great work, and it's very inspirational to me, and it nudges me along and makes me work a little harder.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And that's not really what can be competition, but if we look at it more as inspiration than competition, because there's room for everybody's music.
You're exactly right. Your biggest competition is yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
When you get down to it, everybody else is trying to do their thing, but you can't be somebody else.
Right.
You have to be yourself.
And the more you try to be somebody else, the less effective you are, generally speaking.
That's
I don't
true.
know. There's some Elvis impersonators who make pretty good money, but
yeah, if that's what you want to do.
If that's what you want to do, and hey, they can be very entertaining.
That's right.
I've got nothing against those guys.
That's right.
Or girls. There's probably some female Elvis impersonators too.
Yeah.
But when we talk about the creative process, and everybody's different,
mm-hmm.
but do you have a process that you normally go through when you write a song? Does the inspiration come in a certain, or is it different?
Well, it varies a little bit, but one of the things that is different about the way I write songs once I've gotten back into this than the way I used to write songs is that the way I used to write was more musically driven, and then I'd try to work some lyrics in to make that work. And what I found is that that's just not my particular process. There are a lot of writers who work that way, and they work great, and they know exactly what that's their process. It's very musically driven, but they come up with great lyrics. But what I found is that once I got back into it is that I needed to focus on the lyrics, on the story. A lot of my songs are more story songs, mm-hmm. and I focus on putting that together, and I have an idea a lot of times for a melody or some hook or something of that nature, but I really focus on the story and let that work, and then wrap the melody through the story to help bring that to life. Mm-hmm. And that's really the way that I work best. And I figured that out.
That's a big thing to figure out.
Well,
what process works for you?
Yes,
and like you said,
true.
It's not the same for everybody.
It is not the same for everybody, and I think that's a lot of people say, well, is it the music first or the words? For me, generally, it's the words. I have one song that maybe you played earlier that's called Nowhere at All. And that was a song where actually I had, I don't know if you played it or not. But
First.
First? Okay. That was a song that I had a really strong melodic idea, and I was able to bring in the words and all that, and then that one worked. But rarely do I write that way. It's almost always from the lyrics to the music.
I'll have to share with you that my first guest, Teresa Marone, started talking about the discipline that's required in really being very good at what you're doing. And it always amazes me how the shows kind of take on some kind of theme. And that's really what you're saying, too, is that you wrote songs when you were younger, but it wasn't until you went and studied and learned some discipline and some structure to your writing that you really felt like your songs were much better. So thanks for reinforcing that. That seems to be our theme for the show today.
Well, that's great. I'm glad to.
Yeah. So was there any particular teacher or any particular class that you felt like made a huge difference for you?